welcome to another episode of At Witt's End. This is episode 48, I believe.
Yep.
I'm Ken. That's Carson. He's my son. He is 6,000 miles away, 9-hour difference. If you look at his skylight there, it's actually still light out in Upper Austria. It is, what time is it here? Just before.
Almost 9 o'clock.
So it's unusual for us both to have sunshine right now.
Well, right now it's normal, but yeah, for the rest of the year, I guess it would be.
Most episodes it's dark out, but I don't know the longitude, latitude of where you're at, but I think you're a little further north than I am.
I believe it's like Vancouver-ish.
Oh, then that makes sense, yeah. So how's the weather today? Midday.
Sunny, mid 70s. Yeah.
So what's that in Celsius? 28?
Yeah, low 20s, mid to low 20s.
So here it's been up in the hundreds. Not today. So what's 100 in Celsius? That's close. That's like
40.
Is it that high? Okay.
Yeah, 40.
Well, anyway,
40
welcome
plus.
to summer. We've been kind of lax in doing regular episodes, but just things have been busy. Things have been going on. It is, what day is it, Carson, in America?
Well, it's the same day here. It's Sunday, but it's also Father's Day. So
It's
happy
not
Father's Day.
Thank you very much. Is it Father's Day in Austria? No, not today. They do it a different day, right?
I believe it's Father's Day today. Yeah.
Oh, I should have given a shout out to the family fathers. So anyway, we're not doing a Forgotten Jams today just because of this Father's Day. I'm going to do most of the talking, talk about some recent events I've been to. One that you suggested. And but before that, the football season for JKU is over. But pretty much the rest of the league is playing in the playoffs.
That's no, 66% of 66% of the league is. There's one other team out with us, so.
But the one team you guys beat is in the playoffs, which kills me. So
yeah.
Sadly, could not attend the playoffs. But sadly, that's because you're not in it.
But to say for a team in their first year with most players in their first time ever playing football and having beat a team that's in the playoffs, pretty good to say.
And just to have a win, I don't know what the other teams their first year they did, but I will say this: I think your team has the passion. You're the only team outside of Vienna. You've got what, shockingly, to my surprise, I think are the best looking uniforms in the league now. I wasn't a big fan of the colors early on, but I think it worked out. So I think you guys have your act together.
Grown to love the lavender and navy blue.
Yeah, it's kind of creepy. I can't. It actually works for me.
It's not creepy. It's good.
Well, yeah, it's not a normal football color. Creepy is a bad word, but I didn't think it would work, but it does work. It looks good on the field, and so congratulations on the inaugural season, and best wishes for the for next fall when you guys start off again.
High expectations.
So real quick, I am wearing a McLaren hat. Usually I wear my Red Bull, but recent races, you guys have done pretty well. This is Carson's team, McLaren, and so I thought I'd wear the hat.
He's joined the hype train.
No,
so all aboard the hype train.
I'm still a Red Bull guy, and the hat matches the shirt I'm wearing, and I'll show the shirt in a little bit. So first,
I saw this stat a couple days ago. The only team, I believe, to have completed every single lap of the year is McLaren.
Really? Didn't?
Yeah, 100%.
That's surprising. I don't want to get off on the races too much, but that last race was, I think, one of the best races in a long time.
Yeah, the parity is becoming. I mean, there's like 4 teams fighting for the top positions right now, so it's been entertaining.
That Montreal track, I don't think is the greatest, so it's okay. But that race was one of the better races. So, but since the last time we got together, I think we talked about Five for Fighting. I didn't think we were going to that many concerts this year, but turns out I forgot about all these concerts we had already booked. So one was at the Crest Theater. It's an old-time theater here in Northern California in Sacramento. Very cool theater. We saw the Wallflowers. And I assume, do you know who they are?
I know of them. I don't know them or
I,
anything.
I mean, it's a '90s band, so I thought when you were talking about
Yeah.
Five for Fighting, similar time. It is Jacob Dylan, Bob Dylan's son, uh, a '90s band, Grammy Award winning. Uh, the show was sold out. It was a very good show. Let me find the name. Had an opening act, Leslie Mendelson, a nice Jewish girl from Brooklyn. But I actually got to meet her mom, who's out here in Roanoke Park. She was a lot of fun, and got her latest album. So good opening act. But Jacob Dylan, I thought it was a very good show. It was funny. I turned to your mom and said, saw Bob Dylan when we were in South Bend. You didn't because you wouldn't sneak into the theater with me.
Oh yeah,
We
that's right. I forgot about that.
So there's an old
You, you,
historic
you told the
theater.
story before.
Yeah, so we snuck into that, and I said the one thing about Jacob Dylan sounds a lot like his dad, but you can kind of understand him much better than you could his dad. But similar shows, similar old time venues. Enjoyed the show, definitely rock and roll show. Kind of, your mom thought it wasn't like Bob Dylan; it was more like Bruce Springsteen, which was interesting because he did do a couple of covers of Bruce Springsteen. So. I don't really have a rating system, but if it was 7, 8 out of 10, I enjoyed the show a lot. It was kind of a chill crowd, older crowd
Did
such as
you
myself.
did you know their songs?
Oh yeah, Sixth Avenue Heartache, One Headlight, and the songs. I'm not that big a fan that I knew all the words or anything like that.
It's a theme of you.
Yeah, I'm a generalist, I guess, when it comes down to it. Uh, I did get a kick out of some of the audience members. It kind of reminded me of when, your mom and I met Santa Barbara County Bowl, kind of the hippie girls. There were a couple of hippie girls dancing off to the side, bumping into the walls, probably on shrooms or something. But it was an interesting show, musically, a very good show. I like Jacob Dylan. I'd go see him again. I wouldn't travel around the country following him, but it was a great show. So enjoyed it
I
a
was
lot.
I haven't been to the Trest in a very long time. How was the venue? Was it still
Well,
good shape?
yeah, it's in great shape, and I'll go back to that Five for Fighting. When he came out, he goes, "I love this theater because I feel like I'm playing under the ocean, like a Disney, because it's kind of got a nautical theme in there." So
Interesting.
it is a beautiful theater. And then recently we discovered there's a nice tavern underneath it with arch columns and stuff. And we didn't go real early thinking why, because the last couple of times we've been there, it hasn't been crowded. It was packed. So nice cocktail bar,
Interesting.
decent bar food underneath, and then you can walk right up into the theater. So
Yeah, I think the last time I was there was like mid 2000s when there was like a popularity spike in like snow sports movies, and we
oh,
saw
early,
like a premiere of a snowboarder like action movie, and I can't remember anything about it, but that was the last time I was there.
God, who is the guy that does it? Surf and Warren Miller's?
Yeah,
Yeah, Warren
yeah,
Miller
Warren
stuff.
Miller stuff. Yeah,
Back when you guys were into skiing and going to Tahoe. So we
I
saw that
still
at the
like it, but
Crest.
yeah, we saw the opening at the Crest.
I actually miss those kind of things from my youth, going with your buddies to a theater, having a few beers and watching either skiing, snowboarding, or surfing, and just whooping it up to a movie kind of thing. So
The vibes of like a snowboarder going down a massive mountain, something.
yeah, and everybody hooting and hollering. Of course, with 100-degree weather out, it's hard to even envision that right now. So the other show that we saw was I got tickets for this for your mom. I really wasn't enthralled. It was also at the Crest Theater, and we also went to the tavern underneath again. But a guy named Phil, Phil Rosenthal, and for you guys that don't know who this is,
You
go
don't.
ahead.
Yeah, you don't. Well, I was gonna say you don't have to say a guy named Phil. Like a lot of people know who Phil is now.
I
If
don't
you
think so.
say this show, I
Well,
think a lot of people do.
you think it's that popular
Yeah, I know it
amongst
is.
your crowd too, your age
Yeah,
demographic?
I mean it's just like one of those shows people watch on Netflix just to fill time and stuff.
Well, it's funny because he kind of said it because he could not get this show made for like 10 years, but he wouldn't give up. And he said he met with all the studio execs, everybody from the Food Network to all the home renovation shows and all that to the regular series. And finally, Netflix, I think, bought into it. But they said you need to be travel adjacent or food adjacent. So he said his show is adjacent, which is a term that's kind of used a lot now. So if you don't know, the name of the show is Somebody Feed Phil or Feed Phil.
Somebody Feed Phil.
Somebody Feed Phil.
No, sorry. Isn't it Everybody Feed Phil?
No, it's Everybody Loves Raymond. That's where he got his break and made his millions, I guess, is what it comes down to. He created Everybody Loves Raymond. He did, and hey, Phil, if you ever listen to this, you do the best Raymond impression I've ever heard. He does it dead on, because if you watch that show, you look at him, you go, God, this guy's deadpan. And God, what is Raymond's last name? I mean, he's a comedian, very dry.
Ray Romano.
Ray Romano. So in the show, because he does this travel show, he talked to Ray Romano, and Ray Romano didn't like to travel. He had never been anywhere. And I think Phil got him to go to Italy. And once he went to Italy, tried the food, now he's into traveling. So that's one of his things, is he wants people to travel, to experience new things, see the rest of the world, try new food. And the show was kind of interesting in the way it was set up. Again, I had no expectations. The guy could have read from a book by himself. It could have been a book reading. But he came out. There were 2 chairs on stage, a little table in between, kind of an interview type thing, kind of like between 2 ferns, I guess would be a good analogy. I think a lot of people know what that is.
It's a common setup nowadays. It's the podcast on the road. So a lot of
exactly.
big
it's kind
podcasts,
of what we're doing here.
Yeah, what a lot of big podcasts do is they go on tour and they'll set up and they'll just generally go on tour and
I wonder if he has a podcast
on stage.
I kind of doubt it, but
don't know, but yeah, that's a common thing.
His host or co-host or the interviewee was a guy from Broadway that he knows. So I apologize, I don't remember his name. Funny guy, talented guy, but. So the show was split up in kind of that interview where he kind of told his life story, talked about his show, talked about Ray Romano and all that, and his travels and why he got into it. And then the second half of the show was questions from the audience. And so he definitely has groupies. And it was kind of funny because the host of the show, he kind of said, I wish somebody would come up and quit saying how much they love him and say that he's not that talented. Because everybody came up and go, Phil, we love you. You brought our family together. It was truly a love fest. But the last 2, they finally had to kind of cut it off. And he did have some kids come up and he would hug them. And that was sweet. The last 2 women that came up, one was pretty inebriated. And it kind of got depressing. I thought, is this a setup? And then I could tell that it got awkward because she talked about having cancer and she told her whole life story, and she never really got to a question, and she was slurring her words. And handed to Phil, he handled it well, I think, after about 10 minutes. And I'm surprised the people she was with didn't come down and bring her back up to the audience. And then the second one was kind of the same way. It was kind of weird. But a lot of people said because the show debuted during COVID, that it kind of helped them emotionally get through COVID, and that it was a therapeutic show and inspired a lot of them to travel, a lot of them to cook. And I wish I'd have got up and walked. We had cheap seats, the place was sold out. Your mom would wish she had gone down and asked questions, but I said, by the time I get down there. But he did say, let me know about places. He talked about Croatia, and I felt like going, hey, if you love Croatia, go to Montenegro. That's a great place to go. But I wanted to invite him to Vienna, because he talks about all these unusual places. He likes the history, the architecture.
Vienna's not really unusual, though.
Yeah, but I think it is. The cuisine, because you got to remember, it's the coffee, the Turkish coffee, the pastries.
The cuisine is pretty meh. It's very meh, actually. I can see the pastries and the cakes, but the cuisine as a whole is meh.
But for people who haven't traveled, and you could take them around town and some of the street food that you like, the Bosnas and things like that. I think though, or quite frankly, going to Schweitzer House and having the pig's knuckles and some of the desserts there, that would be interesting for a travel show, especially because it's a historic spot. It's unusual and it's a cultural thing too. So I think a trip to Vienna would be great because it would combine food, culture, music, history all into one, and maybe
Yeah.
even Linz.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, just nothing special about Linz because I think if he had a Linz retort, then he may just leave Austria immediately.
What? And I thought about it in my mind because he talked about how much he loves chocolate, and I've never been a fan of the soccer tort, from the
Yeah,
soccer hotel because it's so dense. It's all chocolate, and I'm thinking he might like that. For me, it's something I'm not a. I'll eat it. It's good. It's okay, but it's world famous, and I don't know why, other than it comes from the soccer hotel in downtown Vienna. So,
yeah. It's not my jam at all either,
or
but it's better. It's better than the Linz retort.
take him to my favorite schnitzel spot on Neubergasse.
Yep, Schnitzelvert.
Yep, best schnitzel other than
I think
Tante
you know what's
Christel's.
funny of all the times you've been to Vienna, you haven't been to the most
The
famous,
famous one.
uh, yeah,
It's a,
Fiedlemüller.
it's almost because they talk about it so much that you have to go.
Yeah,
Um,
I've never been either. I've been
this
here for 3 years.
or what's the spot you've always wanted to go? That's like a 3 or 4 star Michelin restaurant.
So I was about to mention that it just got rated number 19 in the world.
So again, that would be a place that Phil would have to go.
No, that he doesn't go to those places though. He doesn't go
Yeah,
to
yeah,
the
he does. He goes to some of the high end places too.
uh,
But I could
but
picture it at the end of the show going either to Schweitzer House, the beer garden there, and finishing up with
yeah,
friends, or going to Hansi's rooftop and have a meal catered in over the city. So, um,
it's funny. I was thinking about Chirac when I said that or saw the list and Chirac was like 19 or 20. I was thinking about how when we stayed at the hotel right there at
Mhm.
like basically across from it and we'd walk by it every day and I was like, man, this is like one of the world famous restaurants and it's
restaurants,
just
and
like
we go
we
by
just
it
walk
every
by it
day, and
every
yeah.
day and I was like, yeah, and you see the people eating there and it look pretty casual for what is like a Michelin starred restaurant.
Well, I think Hansi kind of mentioned it. Maybe next time we go, maybe in October,
I don't know
if
if you
that's
could I don't know if you could
afford it.
afford it.
Man, now you're killing me. So,
Now you
but
gotta afford it.
so Phil, and I found out that Phil's production team, because a lot of people said he's the new Anthony Bourdain, but
Yeah.
a nice
He's
guy.
not I see
He's a
I
nice
see
guy,
the
but his
comparison,
production
but
team is the same. They took over from
yeah,
Phil
I
after
very much
Bourdain's.
see the comparison, but Anthony Bourdain is he's Anthony Bourdain. There's no one else like him, and
There's no
he was
comparison.
also he's a
Yeah,
chef too, where it's like it's different for him.
yeah. I don't know.
He was a
Maybe
food
I don't think Phil
he
likes
was a
to cook.
food no, he was a chef, and so his perspective was a lot different, but his uh
And
his
his
mindset
person,
was very different too. His personality was
yeah, he
so
had
different.
issues, but
Yeah.
he
Which
is
made
like many
him
chefs I know. That's the way chefs are. They have a lot of
yeah.
issues. Chefs don't mean to insult any chefs.
Which is why like Anthony Bourdain was so like special in that the typical chef wouldn't do something like what Anthony Bourdain did.
Yeah, exactly. But so Phil Rosenthal or anybody from his production team, we invite you to Vienna. I would love to take him during
You know,
October.
you
To
know, you know
wait,
locals.
yeah, I know locals. We know some of the restaurants. There's the 4 star, but I also thought about this. If he would go to the ACSL opening day, and here's why. What's your favorite food truck there, or food that you've always
Speedy
mentioned?
potato,
You know what his favorite food is? French fries.
French fries.
Out of all the stuff, and those are
Speedy
I have
potato.
the speedy potatoes. So Phil, there's a
Shout
great.
out, shout out to Speedy Potato.
Yeah, they should. Yeah, we could comp us some fries next time we go. But I could see taking him to that and having him have a few French fries and watch American football in a
See,
historical, culturally
see,
world famous town.
you were mentioning before we started this how you want to do more TikTok. We'll make a 30-second TikTok about your. It's a persuasive 30-second essay for you to get Phil Rosenthal and somebody feed Phil to Vienna for
There it
ACSL opening
is.
day.
I'm gonna do it. And the reason I brought it up with Carson because I and a shout out to Crowboy. I played golf with him recently at a charity function, and I'm fascinated with influencers, and I'm fascinated that people make a living at it, and he's doing it. So shout out to Krill Boy. So that's that. Phil,
when you said you were playing with him, I looked him up, like just googled his name and everything, and I found this LinkedIn page, and I was just laughing because it was like LinkedIn, and it was like social media influencer, and I was just like, oh god.
Well, a lot of people say they're influencers, and I laugh because shout out to that guy that had the restaurant where the woman contacted him saying she was a social influencer. I can't remember where it was at. I think it was
It's
New
like
York.
every single restaurant.
Yeah. And I love it when guys say, no, I have more people following me on Facebook than you have any influence over you. But this kid, and I guess I could say he happens to have the same name as you, first name, but spelled a little differently. But he has 1.4 million followers, and he's making a living at it. So he's the first guy that actually backed up the word influencer with success that I know that I've ever met. So I have to give him a shout out.
You met some of the Note Boy crew, so they were the Note Boy guys are big
Like,
influencers, social media guys.
and maybe
Actually, massive. I shouldn't
who's
say
that?
big. They're Note Boys.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I think didn't you play with them at the same tournament like last year? Like
I
not
think
the Note
so.
Boys,
I
but like
forgot about that.
associated Note Boy.
Man, those
It
guys
wasn't.
are,
He wasn't one of. They weren't one of the Note Boys,
but they're
but they were like
associated.
part of his their crew.
They
Which
were
the Note Boys are huge.
influencer adjacent.
Yeah.
So,
In the
well,
posse.
yeah, exactly. So moving
So,
on. Oh, go ahead.
well, final summary for somebody who leaves feeds Phil. We recommend to go see his roadshow.
Yeah, and I would say only certain people would go, but again, he has kind of a broad reach. Um, some of the people asking questions kind of gave me the jitters, but overall, he's got a cult following. People love him. I Phil, I don't love you, but I like you. I think you'd be a fun guy to hang around. I enjoy your show. And I'll ask this one question my wife really wanted to ask you, but didn't have the guts to go down and ask it. When you don't like a food, what is the face you make? We're trying to figure that out because you have such an animated, comical gestures and facial expressions. So we know there's food he doesn't like. He kind of uh, hinted at it, but he really never said.
I saw an expression for someone like that. And they have a face with subtitles. And I
Oh,
thought it was
really?
really funny. I
Hey,
saw someone on TikTok say that about their friend. They're like, "Yeah, my friend has a face with subtitles, and I have to remind him of that."
what? And to go back to Crowboy, I will say this because there was at this event we were at, there was a liquor company, and they want him to kind of review, and he said, "I don't. I'm going to give an unbiased critique of your liquor." And the guy was like, "Oh, okay, that's fine." So, he at least told him he's going to be honest in his critique of the guy's liquor. Because
Yeah, but it was just say, yeah, it was great.
yeah, but I
They all
told
say
him the
that.
same thing. This guy we met also he came from another liquor company, and I had their vodka a couple of years ago, and I said your vodka last time was not that great. It's no Tito's, let's just put it that way. But he said the new vodka he has is much better. So
Interesting.
with that, I'll touch on this next concert that I'd forgotten we got tickets for. I really didn't want to go because I'd seen both of these gentlemen several times.
Yeah, touch on it. Don't go
Yeah.
deep.
So
Don't
Daryl
care.
Hall and Elvis Costello and the Imposters. Sadly, I actually thought they were playing together and not separately. So I was kind of, I really wasn't going to get tickets. Seen them both before, but they played separately. I've always been a big fan of Elvis Costello. Goes back to my younger days in Santa Barbara. A lot of
And
the
you
small
talked
clubs.
about going to
We
his
talked about
concert
it
on the
again.
show.
So get there, his opening tune, Pump It Up, pretty weak, but by the end of his set, much better. He did have a great guitarist with him called Charlie Sexton, who I've always admired, great guitarist. And the show was okay.
I think you've
And
talked
now
about the Charlie
Charlie
Sexton before
Sexton,
too.
okay, probably was with him last time. And then Hall without Oates, he's definitely the musical genius. Again, the show was okay. What I did find unusual at the venue, where I looked around and I guess they're like old bros they're bro guys for baby boomers. And I think a lot of people, at least Hall & Oates, maybe Yacht Rock, but I looked around, there were a lot of single guys on their own in single seats, drinking a cocktail, singing the songs and dancing, like guys my age, which the majority were couples, but there were a lot of
in their golden hour, right?
Yeah,
their golden years.
I just thought that it was unusual. So the show was good. I won't say it was great. Both of them I consider legendary guys from my heyday of the 80s.
Are you done seeing Hall & Oates and Costello for at least the next 5+ years?
Probably, unless we get comped or something like that. But I hate saying that because I admire them both.
And you go to their concerts like every year, it seems like.
Yeah, I say I'm not gonna, but I end up doing it. I will say one of my favorite shows streaming is Daryl's House. I don't know if you've ever watched that, where he has a house in South Carolina with a studio in it, and he brings in guys like Darius Rucker was one of the great shows. He brings them in, they do some sets in the studio, and then they cook and eat and drink.
Just have jam sesh.
Yeah. And I really like that. In fact, I was looking at his band. Oh, that's so-and-so from the show. He has a really good guitarist and drum and percussionist that I've seen on his shows. So I would recommend Daryl's House over actually going to the concert. Sorry, Daryl, but that's just the way it is. So the highlight of the concert weeks.
Well, let me just say,
yes,
let me just
give some
point this out. Point this out first. No, I'll let you go. Actually, okay. Since you said it.
So a while back, my co-host here, Carson, we were talking, and he said, "Are you going to see Zach Bryan?" And I said, "No. Yeah, where's he playing? I'm not really."
No, you said who?
Who?
You hooed him. You hooed him.
Okay. I still have a hard time because I always want to say Zach Brown or Luke Bryan or Luke Combs. There's this confusion. And so I looked at, when Carson said this, I looked it up, and he was coming to the Golden One Center.
Yeah,
3 nights, sold out.
Yeah, you were. So it was first slide. I was telling you where he's playing. You're like, he's playing at stadiums. Like what? You were kind of blown away with that, and I was like, yeah. And he's coming to Sacramento. 3 nights sold out at Golden One Center.
I would have been shocked that if he was playing at the local venue, the Indian Casino. I would have thought, guys, just starting out, he's playing at our little Rockland Quarry that seats maybe 1,000, or maybe the Indian Casino. So when Carson said this, I looked it up. I go, holy crap! I think it's 3 nights that he sold out Sacramento. And so
instantly,
then I go,
too.
I'll go see him in Atlanta at, I think it's Mercedes Stadium there, sold out. Let me look at Brooklyn at Madison Square Garden. I think he's playing, or wherever he's playing.
Yeah, he played at MSG.
Sold out.
So I will say this would have been the most legendary one to go see, and if you had gone to go see him at MSG, because that is when Bruce Springsteen played with him at MSG, which would have been insane to see.
That would, and that would be a comparable act, and I'll get to that in a minute. So, looking at all the stadiums from Minnesota to Atlanta to everywhere sold out, I said, no, I give up. I'll wait till 10 years from now when he's doing the casino tour or something like that. And then a friend of you and your brother Jax posted that he has tickets available. And it turned out it wasn't his. It was another friend who we met because he's related to Logan Webb's wife. Logan Webb pitches for the Giants. So old friends, played football with your brother, great guy. I thought I was buying his tickets. Turns out they were extra. He had 6 tickets. And so he walked in, was shaking my hand. I go, who the hell is this? Because he's grown up. He's a man now. He's no longer this high school kid next door jumping around in the pool. So Penn, thank you for the tickets. At first, let me describe where we're at. Go ahead.
But you got tickets in for his Vegas show.
Oh, Vegas at T-Mobile Arena, where the last time we saw John Mayer, and I'll bring up why I mentioned that shortly. So we get there, it's 106 degrees, so we lay by the pool, we get sunburned. I'm going, man, I could fall asleep here and miss the show.
You had a concert the night before you saw it in Sacramento, right? Wasn't it
Yeah, I think it was Phil. I think it was Phil.
Yeah. Somebody.
I told you I kind of forgot what was going on. I didn't think we were going to see anything, and then this comes up. So anyway, we go there, and the seats are at the lower level above the floor. So we had seats, thank God. We didn't want to be standing the whole show. And it's not in the round; it's a square stage in the middle. It's a hockey arena, and I'm going, how's he going to play to all four sides? Because there's not. The stage is not at the end of the arena; it's dead center. And we get there in the opening act. They open up, and the soundboard's right below us. I go, good. He's going to play to us the whole time. Great. Then the next opening act, he had two opening acts. They play on the other side of the stage. I go, crap. Where's he going to play? And then I start looking at the arrangement of the instruments. There's two drum sets, percussion sets on two sides of the stage. And somebody says, well, he's going to walk around. And I go, that's going to suck. That's not going to work. Kudos to the dude. It works. And
there's a microphone at each side too.
And as he walks around, so do the band members. So does the drummer. He switches, play a couple songs on one set, goes to the other side of the stage and plays on the other one, which again doesn't sound great, but it works. And he'll sing through a chorus or halfway through a song, and then the chorus stops. He goes to the next side of the stage and starts singing the next chorus, or he ends the song and it walks between. So each side got to see him up close. And, we had really good seats, dead center. We could see the screen. But here's when he came out, and Grant, he just kind of walked up, him and it's like his high school buddies from his hometown of, I don't even know how to pronounce it, Ulaga, Oklahoma. So many country stars come out of Oklahoma, from, Reba McEntire to this guy.
Ain't much else to do there.
Oklahoma's a great state. It's definitely cowboy country, but that's a whole different episode. First we walk up to the arena. They have the plaza out front. And I go, holy shit! Look at the line to get in. Turns out that was the merchandise line outside the stadium. And I go, oh, thank God! So we got in right away. And then I see another line. It's the merchandise line, and it wraps around. I couldn't even see the end of the line. I go, screw that. Your mom's not getting a T-shirt at this show. We go to our seats. Another merchandise line. I go, holy crap! These people love this guy. And so we get to our seats. Then your mom does want a T-shirt. She goes, I got to get one for this. I don't even know who this guy is, but I'm good. So I go up there with her. I end up buying myself a Zach Bryan T-shirt. So I have
What's on there? I can't tell.
Yeah, it's kind of, they're okay. It's got all the venues on the back, as you can see.
That's cool.
Yeah, and I got the cheapest one, I think, in white. The amount of money people were spending on merchandise was unbelievable. And then I realized the little ticket they handed us with a QR code as we came in, I could have bought it online and had it shipped directly to me. So, we get our seats, get some drinks or whatever, sit down. When he comes on, the whole place stands up, screaming like Jesus Christ just entered the building. And I go, holy crap, this must be what a Taylor Swift concert is like. I mean, they were screaming the whole time.
Yeah, I think the pitch is a little higher at Taylor Swift.
I think so too. But there were a lot of screaming little girls there too. And it was funny. Penn's girlfriend, who has moved out from Connecticut to San Diego with him, she goes, he's my one guy that he's going to let me, if she ever meets him, that's the one ticket. And I go, he's an average looking guy. But so girls love him, women love him, teeny boppers love him, guys love him. And I turned to your mom, I go, I think we're the only ones that don't know his songs and don't know the words to it. So people sang along the whole time, never sat down. And I'm not talking just where we were at, the upper deck of T-Mobile, which that's a large arena. I don't know exactly how many it holds. And they stood up the whole time singing songs. So I agree with, you sent me John Mayer's podcast. I don't know the name of it. And he said something that he goes, this guy is tapped into something. Don't know what it is, but he is tapped into something. I think it's because he's he's real. He has a
He tapped
voice.
he's tapped into the country bar concert on a on a stadium level, which it's a weird it's a crazy thing to say. Like he's created this like country bar, old just small venue country bar concert
But
vibe at a large level like that.
but you can't really say it's not a honky tonk country bar because he's got the crowd. A lot of them were under 21, so they're not going to bars. It's not
Yeah,
like
but I mean,
Shabuzi and the bar song.
but I mean
It's
that's the vibe it like kind of gives off is like it seems a lot smaller than it actually. It's
well,
like the like what's the dude I don't know if I do the but it's like it he shrinks the stadium down.
yeah, it goes very personal level. He ties into a lot of people can relate to the words to his music, the songs, and yeah. When you mentioned Bruce Springsteen, I would. It's now what Bruce Springsteen used to be when he was Zach's age. He came out. I was a big fan. It was the words to his songs, the melodies. He was a real person, I guess. He was grounded.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'll call this, he's a kid still to me. I mean, he spent 8 years in the Navy. Uh, he got a honorable discharge to play music. So I think he got discharged in 2021. It's
Yep.
2024. So in 3 years, he goes from YouTube videos to selling out every freaking major stadium in the United States. And I asked you, I go, do people know him in Europe yet? And I don't know how he'll transfer over. And
Oh no, he's already toured in Europe and
but has
he's
he tied into whatever it is that the connection he's made with the
well,
American audience?
I'm sure if he played in England, he would probably sell out plenty fine in the UK anywhere. He'd probably
Yeah.
sell out easily.
I just
Yeah.
wonder, like the dramatic countries, Northern Europe, if he's.
It's probably a little harder, but
I
I'm
could
sure
see
it would still sell.
Hungary, Bratislava. I could see some of the Eastern Bloc countries, old Eastern Bloc, the Czech Republic. I could see him doing really well there too.
Those are Central European countries now.
Now, yes,
They're not
exactly.
Eastern.
So the other term I use after I said people go, oh, they kind of got offended when I said he's like the Taylor Swift of country, but it was the concert experience. I said, somebody said, boy, that's pretty dead on. I said, he's Garth Brooks if Garth Brooks was still cool. And I know
Yeah.
that it's kind of insulting to Garth Brooks. I'm not saying he's not relevant anymore, but his peak was
We
15, 20
know.
years ago.
Yeah, he was the epitome of '90s country. He was
Yeah.
'90s country. George Strait just had a concert at Texas A&M's football stadium.
George Strait would be a good
Hundred
equivalent.
116,000 people, I think it was.
I don't know
Just like,
anybody that says anything negative about Drew. He's a good guy. I would love to see them together.
but yeah, 116,000 is crazy. I
Yeah.
think I saw somewhere saying it's one of the biggest like single night concerts ever,
Yeah.
and which is pretty crazy.
I think George Strait is what every country
Yeah,
Western
it's what
singer
they
wants
all
to
want to.
be. He
They
is
look up to
cool.
him.
I look up to him, and I'm not that. Yeah, I would like to meet him and just say, "Hey, man, you've kind of kept it together all these years. You've had a great career. People respect him, I guess, is what it comes down to."
Yeah, but
But
yeah,
Zach Bryan
so
could be there. He's already played the Grand Ole Opry, man.
yeah.
So,
Um, so we're at the trip to Vegas, and now
yeah,
and my recommendation was a good one.
surprisingly so. I feel embarrassed that we didn't really know the words to the song, but I haven't heard a lot of his music on country radio, so I don't know if the CMA kind of people, radio stations, are not supporting him.
Which is kind of surprising to me, given like he is very big.
I've heard
And
more
like his song
Shabuzi recently than Zach
when and
Bryan.
his songs aren't really like um bad or anything. Like they're very relatable. So
Yeah, there's
I'm
nothing
kind of
offensive about it.
yeah, I'm pretty surprised at that. Um, but yeah, I mean he's yeah, is is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, in country music right now.
Guess you know who else was in Vegas at the same time?
No, who?
Trump. It was
Really?
And I was thinking, I go, I wonder if he's going to show up here. Because I say that because the crowd was definitely more of a the country crowd usually is more conservative, but they were chanting USA a lot through the stadium. Yeah, they were also chanting. I won't say what they were chanting, but it's "Let's Go Brandon" themed. So so it was kind of interesting hearing all these young kids chanting that. So with that, I will say a concert 10 out of 10 is probably one of the best concerts I've been to. Maybe concert experience. I'm a big Clash fan. I still think Peter Frampton's concert was one of the best I've ever seen. So you're saying
this guy that like has never really been to, I can't even remember the last, I think Coachella in 2016 was the last concert I went to. Gave you a really good concert.
Yeah, I'm glad you recommended it. I'm glad I looked into it. I rarely can say, usually when it's just do it, kind of the Nike theme, most of the things, whether it's trips abroad or doing stuff. There was no regret in this one. I'd go see him again.
The next one, and he's already well known, but he's on the same kind of trajectory. He's a little earlier, but still very well known, is Tyler Childers.
Oh yeah,
he's like the same same direction as Zach Bryan.
Hey,
so that would be the next one to go see.
So I'm kind of done with my whole 2 weeks worth of concerts and shows, but I did want to mention, because you had brought it up, because some of your coworkers, the Nova concert,
the festival. Nova Rock.
Yeah, did you know the connection? How significant that is?
I know it's a bit. I don't know like what the whole deal with it is.
Apparently, Nova must be the producer, because the Nova concert was the one that the Hamas attacked them in Israel. That was the Nova festival.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either till I'm listening to somebody.
It's connected?
I think Nova is the production company. I think they have them in various areas around the Europe. So
interesting.
It just happened to have the same name, and I couldn't remember when you said your coworkers were going to Nova, and I said, "Oh, you should go." And then I said, "There's something about that name Nova that reminds me of it." And I'm watching something about the attacks on Israel, and I see it's the Nova Festival that they were attacked at. But it looks much smaller than the one in Austria. I think it's a bigger show in Austria.
Yeah, Nova Rock's a huge festival. It's 4 days long. Big rock festival. And I will say I'm still trying to find a concert to go like in Europe too. And I was looking. We talked about the Russell Dickerson, and he's playing in Glasgow.
That would be a cool show, because he's playing at the farmers market,
the fruit market,
which is a cool building.
But you were saying like how would Zach Bryan do, and I think Zach Bryan's bigger than Russell Dickerson right now. Although Russell Dickerson has been around for a while, but all Russell Dickerson's shows are sold out throughout his UK tour.
Really?
And so I assume Zach Bryan would be much the same.
What would be interesting to ask? I should text him is Josef in Prague, because he's a big country guy, and he travels to the States. I wonder if he knows Zach Bryan. So
yeah, probably. I wouldn't think so.
Like I said, I would go see Zach Bryan again. I've told people, even if you're not into country, because to me, he's kind of that Santa Barbara folk stuff, from Jackson Browne to Bonnie Raitt to Kenny Loggins to whatever. So
so one of the things I will say, because I see the videos on TikTok all the time, is each concert is pretty unique, and he usually brings out like a celebrity. And I don't think he brought out a celebrity for years, but just seeing his encore song "Revival," his biggest song.
See, I couldn't. I was so naive when people kept saying the revival at the end. I thought it was like, okay, is that your term for encore?
The name for encore.
No, yeah. And he did bring out a bunch of people. I don't know if they were famous. I think they were just his high school buddies.
What's his buddies? Probably his girlfriend, Brianna Chicken Fry, and
from
probably just
Barstool.
Yeah, Barstool. Brianna.
I don't know which one. I was looking. I told your mom, one of the girls hopping on stage with him is from Barstool, and I don't know which one she was.
So like we talked about Springsteen sang with him in New York. He had a rap girl, Sexy Red, twerked revival. She
Oh,
like
jeez.
wanted to go like and be with him on the song. Like she specifically asked for it, and she came out with him during revival and like
Well, your mom
I
was
can't remember
hoping
where
that
it was.
Casey Musgraves would come out because he's done a duet with her.
Yeah, well, she had come out before at a different earlier point in the
Yeah.
tour. John Mayer, and we talked about him. John Mayer came out in Los
So maybe
Angeles.
if John Mayer had come out with him, your mom might like him again.
Yeah, maybe.
Hey,
He
John,
also
wait, John, if you ever listen, I apologize. The reason my wife didn't like your show was because, and I loved it, you took too many breaks in between songs. The fact that you would go get a guitar, come out, and then sing a song. She is more, I guess, into the flow of a show with video screens and stuff. I thought your
lame.
show was great. Yeah, yeah. So
But he's also done like he had this like kid, it's like 12-year-old kid came out and performed with him. He was in the crowd and he brought him on stage to perform revival with them. Just crazy. He had like the LA Rams, some of the Rams players
I heard
during
about
one of the
that.
concerts there.
I wish he'd have
Um,
brought some of the Vegas Knights on or somebody like that. That
yeah,
would have been cool.
he's done a bunch of like random stuff like that for his revival, and it's pretty cool. So it's like a
I
unique thing he has at his shows.
so like when Bruce Springsteen came on, I think yeah, Bruce is legendary, but this guy is definitely the new Bruce. He's the Bruce of country. Um, but if he ever played with George Strait, that would be a show to see.
Yeah,
That
I
would be,
would think they either have or will in the future. I wouldn't be surprised.
yeah, yeah. So that was a good call, Carson. So
Nice store one.
yeah,
Um, yeah, the and um, any is that all the concerts you have? I think that's all the ones you have set up, or
yeah. I mean, there's some coming to our local little small outdoor theater like
okay.
Steel Pulse. I want to go see. Um, I need a good reggae show. I'm jonesing for some reggae, and I miss Slightly Stupid and some of the other bands that played at the venue. Three Dog Night's coming, which is an old band. And here's one for you. And it's weird because Yacht Rock is kind of, everybody's talking about it again.
Yeah.
And Christopher Cross is coming to play at our little theater. So your mom wants to see him.
Well, it's because I had sent you that
Oh,
TikTok.
you
This
were?
like,
Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
sent you his TikTok. This like fun TikTok that I follow. This dude goes just randomly, and he has people like name the artist of like these old classic songs, and like
That's
each time
it.
they double their money. And this one kid was like a yacht rock guy, and he was 17, but into like classic yacht rock. You know,
But I
it's
think
kind
he
of
was
it's very funny.
stumped. He was stumped by Loggins and Messina, which I was
Yeah,
disappointed at.
yeah.
So
That was, and he was like, "Yeah, my parents would be so disappointed."
I wonder, is the term yacht rock considered an insult? I don't
Mm,
know. Does it mean it's too
no, it's
sappy?
no, I don't think
Okay.
so. I think it's just the genre. Yeah,
Because I mean, it kind of
so
is
that's
the
what it
genre
means.
I grew up with. Well, not in my 20s in Santa Barbara. I mean,
Yeah, I mean
Christopher,
that's
Kenny
yeah the perfect
Loggins,
spot for it.
Christopher Cross. Yeah, Santa Barbara County Bowl overlooking the ocean kind of thing. So
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
yacht
take it
rock
as an
central.
insult. So yeah, other than that, it was an interesting couple of weeks. Enjoyed it. Oh, we got some new merch in. We got the
We
bottle
did.
opener. Actually, you can see right there.
Nice. That looks like
Got
a
the,
bottle. Nice.
yeah,
Do you have a
got
merch
the new.
site we can buy this at?
Not yet. I've been just giving it to new subscribers. Let's see if it works.
Uh,
Yep, keeps it nice and cold. So
that's something that you bring up. Koozies. I had asked Austrian coworkers if they ever use koozies since beer culture is so big, and never. And one of my coworkers said he brought back some koozies from the U.S.,
does he
but
use them?
never,
Oh,
never. And I was like, yeah, they're huge in the U.S. Like every brand has koozies, and they just throw them out for free. And
and
then
the thing is, I never use them either. But I will say, when you live in a place like Virginia in the summer, or Texas, or Oklahoma, you pop a beer out of the cooler and it gets warm so fast you need a koozie.
yeah,
So,
yeah. I think that also bottle culture is bigger here, so a lot more
which
bottles.
is
I know they have
why.
I know they
I'll
have
be
bottle
bringing
koozies.
a few of these.
Yeah,
So
I know bottle koozies are a thing, but they're primarily, I think, for cans. And interestingly enough, the small cans, like the one you just had here, I don't think I've ever seen those sold. It's always the tall boy
tall
cans.
boys.
Yeah, in the U.S. we refer to as tall boys. So like
What?
when I talked about like the with some of my coworkers how like here the biggest pack you can get like is a 12 pack or something, and I was like, yeah, and it's pretty normal to see like the 30 rack
36.
in the U.S. and but it's it's not too far off because there'd be taller cans here probably.
And I don't remember it being big, and maybe it's because you already have the what do you call it, the wine, not
Spritzer.
spritzer, but seltzers are kind of
No,
tapering off here, but they were
Sprit
big last summer.
Spritzers are just forever
Part of the
here.
culture. Yeah,
It's summer drink.
that's what I used to drink in the '80s in
I
Europe.
mean,
So.
when you're at the ACSL football games, it's spritzer, and more spritzer.
Yeah,
Like
and
that's
you
kind of
can
what it
also get
is.
hard alcohol. I got to turn them on to a thing called ice though for their hard alcohol.
Yeah, and other drinks that are non-alcoholic because it's hard to get non-alcoholic drink.
Yeah,
Like just the water is not a common thing at the games.
or a Dr Pepper. Poor Carson.
Yeah, definitely not.
So,
But I will
all
say
right, man.
though, one day here, I'll shout out to ACSL Summer Bowl coming up in a couple weeks. Be the first place championship game between actually just a rematch of last year, the University of Vienna Emperors and uh, the VU Tigers playing again. So the Tigers beat the Robots in what I think they kind of refer to as El Clasico, because it's happened a few years in a row. They play each other in the semifinal, and then the Emperors slid by the Bees in a tighter matchup than the 2-3, and
Wait, so
moved on.
it's an American football derby.
Well, I mean, they're whenever the Vienna teams play together, it's
It's a
derbies.
dart. Yeah, yeah,
It's the same thing.
yeah. Disappointed that the Astros aren't in the mix. So hopefully next year. Hopefully, maybe we
Yep.
can get some American high school kids to graduate and come over for the spring season.
Yeah, for some reason that seems like your dream, just to be the funnel. You're the American talent scout.
The
Produce nothing at this
the
point.
recruiter. Oh, okay. I'll keep working on it. With
uh,
that, anything else to add?
oh,
You
end
got
of here.
you got a
Yeah, we
soccer
got
match a
some.
lot.
The Euros are on, so London, England is playing right now. I've already seen videos of craziness in Germany of all the different fans from different countries. I saw a video. So Scotland played Germany in the opening match.
Mm-hmm.
Got blasted. Germany won 5-1. It wasn't even close. And I saw two hilarious videos come from Munich. So one was a pre-match. So the like the Gothic town hall right in the
Yeah.
center of Munich. So they were like interviewing. They were having a live news like just to check in there. There's like a lot of Scottish fans in the background, like wearing their jerseys and their kilts and everything. And they're all like shouting at the camera, and they're all having fun with the news broadcaster. News broadcaster's having fun. The camera like pans over, and one dude pulls up the kilt of another dude, and the dude's full classic Scottish commando and live TV
Oh, it was
flashes
live,
the
so it
entire world.
didn't get blacked out, huh? That's
Nope.
funny.
And then I saw another just a TikTok video of a absolutely blacked out Scottish fan after the match in Munich, and he was crossing the street at an angle because he was falling down as he was crossing the street, drunkenly,
Yeah.
and just got smacked by a motorcycle. Motorcycle crashed, and the dude just like falls down, but then just gets up and then keeps walking like sideways.
That's scary.
He's just, the motorcyclist was like, "What the heck just happened?" And yeah, it's a hilarious video. The dudes were his friend was hammered videoing him too. They were just laughing at the whole thing.
You have to send it to me.
Yeah, the motorcyclist was very pissed off. So, yep, Euros are going crazy in Germany, and Austria plays tomorrow against France at noon your time.
Will it be on TV here on ESPN?
Yeah, it'll be on like Fox or CBS or something, but it should be on TV.
Definitely root for the Austrians over the French.
The French.
So yeah, but that's Austria's it from
Austria's a dark horse team in the tournament. They got a good team.
About time.
Devastated by injuries, but got a good team.
Kind of sounds like the JKU Astros, devastated by injuries.
Yeah, 2 hospitalizations in the last game, so it wasn't great.
But, well, good luck to hopefully they recuperate, and looking forward to October opening day. Yep, with that, I think it's another episode in the tank for At Witt's End. We'll see you next time.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.